Hi, this is Scott Swee from S&S Innovation. Today, we're going to learn more about the shelf kit from S&S Innovations. Here's what it looks like. This shelf kit is used to help make it super simple to install the MK6 and the shelf on top of your auto drive from Mark 7. Let's take a look at it. So one of the options from S&S Innovations is this shelf kit. It's made of 80/20 aluminum extrusion in 1 inch. What I've done here is got this assembled already. I'm going to show you how to assemble it in just a few minutes. It makes it super easy to install onto the auto drive from Mark 7. It also includes a hardware kit that you'll use to do the installation. So let's take a look at how do you do the installation and put together the shelf kit. When you get the shelf kit, you're going to get all of the components that you see here on the table, along with a hardware kit. It's really easy to set up. The first thing I want to show you is how do you actually assemble these pieces together? Well, what I've done is I've numbered every single piece that you're going to be connecting and putting together. Makes it very, very easy for assembly. So for example, here we got the number 7, and here we have the number 7, which you see right here. It makes it real easy to assemble. Now let me show you how this works. At the end of each of the pieces where appropriate, in this case here, this piece will have these connectors on each end that you can see here on the screen. Okay? What they do is they simply slide into the slots. Now where it's supposed to be connected, like right here for example, you're going to slide these two pieces together just like this. And then there's a hole here on the end. If you look at this hole that's right here, it makes it easy to take your 5/32 Allen head, put it through the hole, tighten it up, and you're good to go. And so what you'll do is you'll put these pieces together one piece at a time in order to assemble it all together. Now, I'm not going to do that on the entire video here because it'll take forever for you to just sit here and watch me assemble this. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and stop the video, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some of the pieces when they're assembled together. I'll stop in between a few parts so you get an idea of how it works. I'll be right back with you. So I've got this partially reassembled now. What you can see here is I've got my numbers lined up. Here I've got my 6s and my 3s are lined up here. I have on this side, the 2s are lined up. So you can see them here, the 2 and the 2 right here, and the 3s, and then on the 6s on this side, and so on. Okay, let's put together one leg together so you can see how it goes together and how easy it actually is. So in this case here, I've got the number 1, and my number 1 is right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to assemble this part like this. You see here's the hole that's on the edge right here. We're going to just slide that in just like that. And then we're going to take our Allen head and we're going to put it through the hole on the top. Find the bolt that's a part of the assembly. And once I have that, I just simply tighten it down. And when I tighten it down, it will now be nice and firm and together. Now, one of the things that's real important, don't over tighten these screws. They don't need to be really, really tight. You don't have to torque them down. About 10 to 15 pounds is about all you need to hold it together. I'll be right back with you because I'm going to put the last leg on and then I'm going to show you how to actually adjust it. Okay, I'm back with you now. We have the basic frame put together. Again, we got all our numbers lined up. As you can see here, the 4s are lined up. We got the 1s that are lined up. And on this side here, we have our 7s lined up. But once you got it all basically assembled, the first thing you need to do now is make it level. So it's important to slowly take your time here because we're going to put a shelf on this. We want everything to be nice and square and nice and level. So what we do is we simply go around and loosen all the screws up just ever so slightly to get all the parts to line up perfectly. So I'm going to just loosen up the screws all the way around. It'll just take me a moment here. And when all this happens, what happens is all the parts just kind of lay flat. Make sure it's upside down. You see how I have it flat on the table as I unscrew all the screws to make sure everything's going to line up the way we want. Okay, all the screws now have been loosened up. So what you can see now is how everything lines up nice. When it's flat on a table, what we're trying to do is make sure things are square, things are flat, so that when we tighten everything up, it'll be nice and square and flat to be prepared for our shelf. So everything's loosened up now. I'm going to go ahead and tighten everything down carefully, one at a time. Again, we don't need to make these real tight. Our goal here is simply to get it snug until we get everything squared up. And we got our last one over here on the left. And finally our last leg here. Okay, we're all done here. All the screws have been tightened up. It's nice and flat on top of my table that I'm using for my build platform. And now what I'm going to do, the final step, is I'm going to flip this over on its side, and I'm going to make sure all of the bolts are nice and snug and tight. Again, we don't need to go real tight, about 10 pounds. Just snug them up real good to make sure nothing is loose. And that's it. That's how easy it is to assemble the shelf kit. We're ready to rock and roll and put our shelf on top. Now, let's talk about how you're going to attach this to the auto dry plate. So let's imagine our auto dry plate is sitting right here. This is going to go into the back left corner, and our press is sitting right here. Now, in a part of the hardware kit that I have are these 3 angle brackets. They look just like this. I've already pre-assembled them for you so you know exactly what to do. You see this part here? This is the part that slides into the rail here. So what you're going to do is, show you real close. You don't have to take it apart. Just simply pick up the leg, slide it in, and set it down, and it's ready to go. Now, part of the hardware that I also provide to you is some washers and some lock nuts. Now, what's going to happen here is you're going to use these 4 parts to attach it to the auto dry plate. 1, 2, and 3 points. So you have 3 of these that are a part of the kit. I'll show you what that looks like here. You'll have one here, and then you'll have one here as well. And then you use the screws that I provided here to go through each of the holes. Now, there are 2 ways in which you can actually screw this into the auto dry plate. My recommendation is use the bolt and the washer and the lock nuts that I am providing to you. And the reason I say that is it's easy to simply drill a hole in the 3 spots on your auto dry plate, put the screw through, and then bolt it together. That's the easiest way to do it. The other option, for those of you who want to be a little bit more resourceful, is you could drill the 3 holes and then tap them using the bolts that I provide. I would not recommend doing that unless you are very, very good in drilling and tapping into an aluminum plate that's about a half an inch. It's about 3/8 of an inch thick that comes from Mark 7. You get to do it once. And if you make any mistakes and break off a bit and so forth on the auto drive plate, you're going to have a problem because you can't drill through a drill bit. So my recommendation is simply use a drill that will pass through on these bolts, go through the auto drive plate, and what you can do is take the auto drive plate, set it up on a couple of 2x4s so that it's up off your table, that your loading table. It makes it real easy to get your hand underneath the auto drive plate, and you'll put these through like that, through the auto drive plate, put the bolt in underneath, and you'll be good to go. The last step that you're going to have here is mounting the shelf onto the shelf kit itself. And that will be covered in a different video. We won't cover that here because the way the shelf kit is set up for the shelf itself will vary depending on your situation and your installation. So that's it. That's how you set up the shelf kit and assemble the shelf kit. And thank you very much for joining us on this installation video on the S&S Innovation Shelf Kit.